This is the SFFaudio Podcast. Well, I'm Scott.
This is Jesse.
How you doing this week, Jesse?
I'm fine.
Excellent. Oh, just doing fine. Just looking at your Audible post. Tons of new stuff at Audible.
Yeah.
My goodness. I just noticed just this morning I was looking at more, and they've released things since you made the post. And you made the post, on Thursday?
Yeah. Earlier this week.
Yeah, my goodness. Well, some of the things you've got on there, Shadow Bridge by Gregory Frost, Lord Tophet by Gregory Frost. I guess that's a sequel.
Yeah, there's a pair. I think they're it's a 2-book series.
Uh-huh. And then you've got The Speed of Dark by Elizabeth Moon. That novel won a Nebula Award.
Right.
And Audible's got a version of that out. And I remembered that title, so I looked through the SFFaudio archives. And Mary Robinette Kowal reviewed The Speed of Dark for us. Gosh, it must have been 2006. And it was the Books on Tape version. Read by Grover Gardner. So that is out there. We'll throw a link up there.
Hopefully. I don't think we know who the reader for this is, so.
Oh, we don't? Okay, on the site it says Jay Snyder.
Oh, really? Okay, so they've really got that information.
You bet.
All right. Yeah,
I should say Campbell Award-winning author Mary Robinette Kowal. I think.
That sounds better. Yeah.
You bet. So what else have we got here? The Speed of Dark, Fast Times at Fairmont High by Werner Vinge. It's awesome. 40 Signs of Rain, 50 Degrees Below, and 60 Days and Counting, all by Kim Stanley Robinson.
And those are hefty. All three of those.
Right.
Hefty reading.
That's right. And coming soon, like you said last week, Resnick's Starship Rebel. Mm-hmm. And then two that we didn't talk about last week, Hyperion and The Fall of Hyperion by Dan Simmons. Both books that I would like to have read but never have, so I'm excited about those.
Yeah, me too. And Hyperion is read by a full cast.
No kidding.
I don't think I put that. Oh yeah, it's in the top.
Do you know who the lead?
It doesn't say. It says multi-voice production.
Huh. Because I know Rudnicki and crew do that. And,
yeah, it could very well be them, but for Audible, who knows?
Does that too? Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So since you wrote that post, there's been some more stuff put out there. The selected stories of Philip K. Dick.
Now that's from Blackstone, right?
That's from Blackstone. Yep, they're out there on Audible. I don't know if they're even available through Blackstone yet.
I think they're released early there.
Yep, but Volume 1 and Volume 2 of the selected stories of Philip K. Dick are available. It looks like they're re-releasing some of the Star Trek audiobooks on Audible. Probably in advance of the Star Trek movie. So I know how much you love those. And very cool. This is another author that I have not read before, but I'm excited to. Peter F. Hamilton. Mm-hmm. Pandora's Star was posted. It's 37 hours long, this book.
Oh my God. It's longer than Anathem.
It is. And the sequel to it, which is... the name escapes me. What is the name of the sequel? Because the sequel's actually been available on there, but then they just cut up and put this on there. Oh, darn it. What is it called? I'm looking through it. Please talk amongst yourselves while I do this.
I spotted Star Wars Clone Wars Wild Space, which is a 12-hour... audiobook, unabridged Star Wars.
Oh, cool.
narrated by Jeff Gerner. I've never heard of him.
Oh, wow. So they're using different narrators. They usually kind of stick with one. It was Jonathan Davis forever.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, he's busy working on the Starship series.
Uh-huh.
By Mike Resnick.
Right. Well, good.
They've also got...
I really like him as a narrator. He's a great narrator.
Also got John Scalzi's The Last Colony, which is another one of that series of old man war novels.
Uh-huh.
Zoe's Tale is there as well. Those are recent releases, if not brand new. And William Dufris is reading those.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I am listening to... I took a break from Anathem because it wasn't going very well. So I've had on my iPod for a little while Flashforward by Robert J. Sawyer.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Judas Unchained is the name of that Peter F. Hamilton. It's 40 hours and 59 minutes long. And it's actually...
40 hours? Oh my God!
As I understand it, those are two parts of really one story. So, it's really like an 80-hour-long novel.
Oh my God! This is
so I'll see you in late March.
Yeah.
But I'm excited to read those. Both of those are put out by Tantor, by the way. They're on Audible, but they aren't produced by Audible.
The narrators must be happy, all this work.
And the narrator is John Lee. John Lee is really good.
I've never heard of him.
Oh, John Lee, he's a British guy. He did A Feast for Crows. That's where I remember him well. A Feast for Crows by George R.R. Martin.
Sure.
It's the latest Song of Ice and Fire novel.
Right.
And anyway, yeah, I really like him as a narrator. He's good.
I'll tell you the one that's got me really excited, and for some reason it didn't get any fanfare when it was released, was a 1959 Hugo Award-winning novel.
1959?
Mm-hmm.
Heinlein?
No. James Blish.
Oh, A Case of Conscience.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Isn't that amazing?
That is amazing.
So that I got a batch of new credits, so that was
cool.
the first
Who reads
thing
that
I got. Good question. I just got it about 4 hours ago, and I haven't listened to it yet. But
wow.
I listened to just a little preview clip, and it sounded just fine.
Oh, good.
So.
Oh, there it is. Jay Snyder again.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
Jay Snyder. Yep.
Good.
Yeah. That's terrific.
The other Audible release that was pretty exciting. Should be pretty exciting for everybody because it's free, 100% free.
Uh-huh.
Only thing you need is an Audible account, and those are free.
Mm-hmm.
Is Black River by Dean Koontz.
Oh, good.
I started listening to that last night. It's a suspense novel, so I didn't file it properly. It should be under our Oral Noir banner, but it's read by Scott Brick. It's only 2 hours long. It's a novella, and it was released as a way to promote the fact that the Zune is now available as an Audible player. It's compatible with Audible. So there's a little advertising for that fact at the beginning of the piece, but other than that, it's a regular Audible version of Black River, and
cool.
Got read by Scott Brick, and it's an intriguing little premise. I think it's going to be good.
Oh, great. Have you listened to a lot of Dean Koontz?
I've listened to a fair amount, maybe 3 or 4 novels, and some novellas. It's been many years since I've heard my first one, and I read a whole book on his writing, and my friend Steen is a big fan of Dean Koontz.
Oh, cool.
I really like the way he writes. He's completely insane, but That doesn't make he's a bad writer. He's just really strange and very good.
Wow. Yeah, the first audiobook I ever read of his, and I had never read any of his books in print, but I picked up from the library many, many years ago a book called Dragon Tears, and it was read by J.O. Sanders.
Mm-hmm.
And I still remember that book in my head. It's just terrific. It's about this partners, in they're cops, okay, partners, one guy and one girl, they're partners, and it
is the story of two Southern California police detectives who track down a demonic serial killer with paranormal abilities.
Exactly. And one of the cool parts about this is there's a dog in this story, and some of the sections of this book are told from the dog's point of view.
Yeah.
It's not a huge part of the story, but it is so memorable because Jay Sanders did such a terrific job with it. He's like, good dog, good dog.
Yeah.
He wanted to be a good dog, so he would do things so people would praise him.
Yeah, this is one of the strange things about Dean Koontz is having a dog narrator is not uncommon.
Yeah, yeah.
The reason I know exactly what it's about, I just placed up our Dean Koontz page.
Oh, good.
So it had been posted a long time ago just as a regular post. Now it's got a separate subpage.
Oh, great. Good. Yeah. A couple other my favorites of his are Intensity, read by Kate Burton. Oh, it's a terrific book. It's definitely intense. The whole thing takes place in maybe a 24-hour period. Mm-hmm. It's about this guy who murders a family, and one of the members of the family is hid in his motorhome. So she's kind of trapped, but he doesn't know that she's there. So it's very intense.
Yeah, so suspense is one of the way of describing his writings. Suspense or thriller. He's sort of his own unique whatever, though.
He is his own unique whatever, because he there's science fiction elements. The other one I was going to mention,
or fantastic elements, anyways. Yeah.
The other one I was going to mention is Fear Nothing, and there's a sequel called Seize the Night. I'm afraid I don't know how to pronounce this fellow's last name, but the narrator's terrific. It's Keith, and then Szarabajka.
Okay.
He's a terrific narrator, absolutely wonderful. But Fear Nothing is the main character is a fellow who has a disease, and I can't remember the name of the disease, but he can't be exposed to light.
Zarabaka.
Okay.
That'd be how I'd pronounce it.
Okay. So anyway, the main character can't be exposed to light, so he lives his life at night, and weird things start happening at night, and there's science fiction elements in there near the end, but that's what you're saying. Dean Koontz, he's really in his own category because some of his stuff has supernatural in it. I remember one about angels. Well, it was made into a movie. Jeff Goldblum was in it, but the audiobook is really great too.
Okay.
Hideaway, that's what that one's called. This guy gets in a terrible car accident and nearly dies, and ends up bringing an angel back with him. And the angel is basically tasked to thwart the plans of a demon that's also on the planet in a serial killer's head. So Jeff Goldblum played the main character who had almost died, and he starts to see the murders in his head. And anyway, so he's got supernatural sometimes in there, and sometimes not. Dragon Tears was supernatural.
One thing that he's really good at is short stories, and I don't think there's a collection of his short stories. There's a story, on audio, that is. There's a story from 1970 that I use in my classes. It scares the pants off of people. Really good. It's called Nightmare Gang. and it's about a guy. It's a first-person perspective story of a guy who he's telling you about this gang that he's in, and he doesn't remember how he joined the gang. He just, his sort of first memories are riding down the highway with a bunch of biker-looking guys beside him, and they drive up and down the Florida coast looking for trouble, and they're all dead. They're all dead men, and it's like their punishment, or it's the end of the world, and they go from town to town terrorizing people, and yet they can't leave the gang. If they get separated from each other by more than 55 meters or something like that, they'll start getting terrible pains in their chests. And the leader of the gang is incredibly powerful. He can defeat you with one pinky finger. And it's just scary, and it's a good story, and it's sort of an enigma as to what exactly caused this situation. We don't know why he ended up in the gang, but we know that he's not a good guy, but he's also not as bad as we expect him to be.
Cool.
Yeah, a very, very good short story.
That sounds real good.
I think a lot of his... Dean Koontz has been writing for a long time, so he has a lot of older material that hasn't really been reissued as a collection. So there'd be enough out there for a big hefty collection from 1965 to 2001. He's been writing all sorts of short stories. So.
Oh, good. Yeah, I notice here too. He and Kevin J. Anderson wrote a few books called Dean Koontz's Frankenstein.
Right.
Wonder how those are.
I'm not sure. I believe it was based on a movie or something that fell apart.
Oh.
And it's they are paired for the first novel, I believe it is, and then the other novels in the series are written by other people.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Dean Koontz's Frankenstein, Prodigal Son, Book 1, is Dean Koontz and Kevin J. Anderson, narrated by Scott Brick.
Right.
And then Dean Koontz's Frankenstein, Book 2, City of Night, is Dean Koontz and Ed Gorman.
Right.
Narrated by John Bedford Lloyd, and those are the only two.
Right.
So it was going to be a film, and
I think it's some sort of retelling of Frankenstein, yeah, and I'm not exactly sure. It's been a while since I read about these ones.
Well, yeah, speaking of movies, I mentioned that I was listening to Flashforward by Robert J. Sawyer.
Right.
And, man, it's good. I'm about almost halfway through it. It's terrific. Absolutely
He's
terrific.
a great writer.
Yeah, and I have no idea how they're going to make it a series. It would make, if I was reading it, well, I'm not sure how they're going to do it, or what exactly they're going to do. Because
same way as they did
as I'm listening to it right now, I can see it making an absolutely wonderful movie.
They'll just do it the same way they did the 4400, right? The 4400...
Oh, that I didn't see.
Okay. The 4400 is a series about 4,400 people who got abducted by aliens. And they all were suddenly returned at once. They were abducted between, 1940 and 1995 or something like that. So you've got people of all sorts of different periods of time suddenly being returned to Earth, and they haven't aged a day. So there's a World War II Air Force pilot who has to suffer. He comes from a world where he has to suffer racism. Now he's suddenly thrust into a world where he isn't. And so each week we follow characters who originally had something going in their life, and now something's changed. In that show, they had superpowers of some kind, right? From this adventure. and each week we would meet somebody new who had some sort of weird new superpower, and it would be sort of a mystery. There's an ongoing backstory explaining it. That's how they'll do this, right? They'll say this has affected everybody in the whole planet. Some people it didn't do anything for.
Yeah, we should mention what exactly affected them.
Yeah.
In the book, really near the beginning, there's a scientific experiment going on, and once they kick the thing on, everybody in the world gets flashed forward for 2 minutes, 20 years into the future.
That was the CERN thing that happened this year.
Yeah.
This book came out maybe 10 years ago?
Yeah.
5 years ago?
Yeah.
So,
you know what's funny, too? You're speaking of that. I mean, the book was put out 10 years ago or so. I don't even know for sure, but at least 10 years ago, right?
Something like that.
Anyway, I'm listening to it, and it says, he goes into these, like, news clips every now and then. And it says, Pope Benedict XVI said today that blah, 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 blah. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. I mean, that was pretty cool.
He's so foresightful.
That's right. That's right. I thought that was neat. Anyway, yeah, so everybody's life has changed. Some of them see nothing but, it's only 2 minutes long, so a person may not have been doing anything,
They might have been asleep.
Right, but, one person sees
or
nothing.
Dead. Yeah.
Right, so he's dead in the future.
I can't remember. I believe it's the future was incontrovertible. You couldn't change it, right?
Right now, like I said, I'm halfway through it, and right now they believe that it is changeable because somebody in the news died who said that he had seen.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that doesn't.
It doesn't mean right.
Been a liar.
That's exactly right.
Or could have been drugged.
And I just the more I read of Robert J. Sawyer, the more I like him. I've read, several books. The Hominids trilogy. That's not what they call that? Oh, then I think it's Neanderthal trilogy is what they call it.
Yeah.
And it's all available on audio now on Audible. Yeah. Starts with the hominids, and that's about a parallel world or contact with a parallel world in which the Neanderthals continue to be, and the Homo sapiens does not.
Right.
And
Illegal Alien.
Illegal Alien I have not read.
I don't think that's out on audio yet. I'm not sure. I don't think it is.
Calculating God is great. I reviewed that, didn't I?
I don't remember. Maybe. I remember talking about it.
I better, because I listened to it too. I listened to the. It was narrated by Jonathan Davis. Yeah,
that's the one set at the Royal Ontario Museum.
Yeah. I'm just typing that in SFFaudio here. Da-da-da. Yeah, I did review it.
Visiting.
It's here.
Even though I've never been there.
Audio Essential, even. Yeah, it's terrific. Jonathan Davis is such a good narrator, and the book is really good too.
The one that really needs to be put out by Audible or somebody is his first novel. Have you read that?
J. Sawyer's?
Yeah. Golden Fleece.
Golden Fleece. Mm-hmm.
I think that's my favorite of his novels.
Is it really?
Yeah. It's a murder mystery set on a rammer, a spaceship going from Earth to Alpha Centauri. A murder mystery, except we know who the murderer is. It's the ship's computer who tells the story. The only the mystery is why. Why did this computer murder this person? And what's the idea? And so, as we are told from chapter to chapter what's going on, we can see the detective is trying to solve the mystery, and the computer is trying to prevent the detective from solving the mystery.
Well, cool.
It's very, very clever, very interesting. Has a really good plot that I didn't figure out. And that's always makes me happy. But it didn't cheat. It didn't cheat. Yep. It gave you all the facts, and then you say, "Oh yeah, oh that makes sense."
All right.
Yeah. He's good. He's actually. I heard somebody talking about. he's a really good example of a guy who uses mystery in science fiction.
Well, he's won awards for that too.
Yeah.
He's won mystery awards.
Yeah.
Yep.
So the Illegal Aliens, a murder mystery inspired by the O.J. Simpson trial.
Oh.
And about an alien who comes to Earth and murders someone. Why did he murder this person? Or did he murder this person?
Yeah.
And then I think some Calculating God in a way is a mystery. It's not really out and out mystery, but a lot of them are mysterious in some way. Mm-hmm. And he likes dinosaurs. So that's a good thing. Any topic he tackles is relatively interesting, you know.
Yeah, and that's what I'm finding. You know, everything I read of his is very thought-provoking, which is really great.
And he likes to base it in real science, and that makes it a lot more... I think maybe the weakest novel I've read of his is called End of an Era, and I believe that's set on Earth during the dinosaur Jurassic Age or something like that, and it explains why the dinosaurs all died. And I think it's an interesting idea, but I think it's also a little preposterous. So, I still recommend it, but it's not. It's like the weakest one is still a good read. So that's not bad praise at all.
Well, good. Yeah. Yeah, you posted a review of the only audiobook he had for a long, long time was The Terminal Experiment, which won a Nebula Award. And it was put out by Recorded Books, and they put that out on Audible now, too.
Right, that's right.
Yeah, that's a great book, man.
Yep, that's another murder mystery, I think.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
I think so.
I don't remember what the murder was.
There's three computers. One committed a murder, something like that.
I remember the
long
things
time
that
ago.
I remember. The things that I remember out of that book were the discussions about consciousness and artificial intelligence. It says it started as an experiment in life after death. It ended in death. Dr. Peter Hobson had created a monster, 3 of them in fact. In order to test his theories of immortality and life after death, he has created 3 electronic simulations of his own personality.
Right.
The first Hobson has all memory of physical existence edited out. It will simulate life after death. The second Hobson is without knowledge of aging or death. It will simulate immortality. The third Hobson is unmodified, a control, but now all 3 of them have escaped from Hobson's computer into the worldwide electronic matrix, and one of them is a killer. So yeah, there is a murder in there.
And it's old. It's from 1994, 1995. So this is World Wide Web getting started.
Right.
And his latest series, which is, I guess, the first one's being serialized, or just being just finished. I can't remember if it's finished yet.
Wait,
is also about the internet.
Right, and it's going to be a trilogy, right? All starting with W. Three books starting with W. Wake and I don't know what the other two are called, yeah.
Wake, something, and something. All W's.
So Flash Forward, I'm sure I'll finish that this week because I can't stop listening to it. So, but you know that says an interesting thing about audiobooks too. Again, you know, I'm listening to Anathem, which is it's a great book. You know, it's just hard. It's a hard listen. It's a difficult listen.
That happens.
Then you put Flash Forward in, and it's just like you know, you fly through it because it's very well written, and you know, there's just something about it that makes great audio.
Yeah.
You know, so you know, there's a quality. Everything's not suited for audio, just isn't.
No, but a lot.
So on Audible, they've got these are what they have from Robert J. Sawyer. Hominids is the first book in the Neanderthal Parallax is the name of the trilogy. Right. So they've got Hominids, Humans, and Hybrids. Are those 3 books?
Yeah.
And then Flash Forward, Calculating God, The Terminal Experiment, and then Shed Skin, which is a short story.
Well,
put out by Deuce
Tell me
Audio.
a little more. Yeah.
Released
Tell
by
me more.
Deuce Audio, which is my company. So, but yeah, Robert J. Sawyer, thumbs up.
Also an excellent listen.
Yeah, it's good. I liked it. Read by Stephen Hoy. Yeah, looking through all this Audible stuff, do you spend a lot of time listening to things that are not science fiction fantasy?
Yeah, I guess so.
I mean, like, is it always fiction? Do you like to listen to nonfiction?
Yeah, I like nonfiction. I just spotted a documentary on Wikipedia from the BBC that I'm gonna be sinking my ears into.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just flipping through Audible, you know, so I mean, you know, everything's here, and some of the nonfiction that I really like. Have you ever heard of Sarah Vowell?
I've heard of her. Yeah, I'm not.
Yeah, she writes. Well, she was the voice of Violet in The Incredibles.
Okay.
So she's actually got a little. It's called a Vowelette, or a little essay on the extras on the Incredibles DVD, if you have that. But anyway, she writes American history.
What does she have on the?
What does she have on Audible?
No. On the DVD?
It's called Vowelette. Her name is Sarah Vowell.
Uh-huh.
And Vowelette is the name of this short essay. It's maybe 10 minutes long on the Incredibles DVD.
Okay.
And it's basically, you know, hey, this is Sarah Vowell.
Okay.
She's anyway, her audiobooks are really, really good. Partly Cloudy Patriot, Assassination Vacation, and the Wordy Shipmates.
I've heard of Assassination Vacation, and I've seen her interviewed about that.
Yeah.
She's sort of quirky, I guess.
She is, yeah, but
the genre is quirk.
She's absolutely great. I haven't heard Wordy Shipmates yet, but I want to.
So yeah, that's sort of history language.
Yeah, and it shows Born Standing Up, A Comic's Life by Steve Martin. That's not a very long audiobook, and one that I want to hear because Steve Martin, I love him.
He's funny.
Yeah.
I did spot the Orson Scott Card Intergalactic Medicine show that you were telling me about. That's available from Blackstone, but it's on Audible now.
Okay. Gotcha.
It's a big long list of authors, and you're not among them. 18.
I can't believe
18
it.
Stories.
Well, you know,
a lot of them are Orson Scott Card stories, but
yeah, some of them are. Yeah, the Ender stuff. Yeah.
But it says hopefully Volume 2 will see the remaining 3 Ender titles. Someone's review of they want to see the Gold Bug, Ender Stalking, and Ender in Flight in the collection as well. Okay. So that's actually really helpful. It's nice to see somebody who's bought it doing a review that includes the titles of the stories. Because, it doesn't actually include that in this.
Yeah, I don't know why. You know, I've complained about this about audiobooks ever since SFFaudio was started. You know, there's things that they don't do with audiobooks that they do with print books that they should be doing. You know, the latest example that George R.R. Martin Dream Songs, 3 volumes of audio.
Right.
And not a table of contents to be found on any of those packages.
Kind of,
and it's a collection of short stories. You know, why wouldn't they put that on there?
Too much
another
work.
thing, you know, if I stick with George R.R. Martin, you know, they did the Game of Thrones or A Game of Thrones and all those books. Well, if you buy the hardcover, you know, you've got a nice map and stuff. But why, you know, they've got all this real estate. You know, when they publish that audiobook on CDs, they've got all this real estate on those packages.
Yeah.
You know, why not put a map on there? You know, not asking for too much, am I? You know, just include some of this stuff. It's like they're treated that they're not really quite books. You know, they don't. They should treat it as if, you know, the person that's buying this does not have the book. You know. which I imagine that most of the people who buy them do not. But it's almost like the mindset is that, hey, this is an addition to this book. It's not its own thing. It's a spawn of the book or something.
So I spotted. Yep, I spotted the Skyboat Road Company listing.
Oh,
It's a book I've not heard of before. I don't think it's called Resonance by A.J. Scudier. And it's narrated by Stefan Rudnicki, Carrington McDuffie, Polly Bomer, Gabrielle Decoeur, David Burney, Rosalind Landor, and Art Johnson. Released in November, and description is Resonance is a science fiction story about the predicted upcoming polar shift. 4 scientists from different fields are tracking anomalies in today's environment and eventually meet at the beginning of a polar reversal. Animals are mutating, people are dying, and the last polar shift occurred at the same time the dinosaurs died out. This story will have the readers contemplating which way their internal compasses point.
Wow.
This is actually really interesting. When I was taking geology, figured out how learning how we found out about how polar shifts happen. How can you tell when a magnetic reversal happens in time? How would you work this out? And it's very interesting. So when crystals are forming in rock, they point to magnetic north. So whenever there was volcanic action on Earth, there is crystal formation pointing towards magnetic north. Right? Now, you can track that back by looking at the age of a rock to see which direction the crystals are pointing. And you build that up just like you can build up a tree ring database to tell you what the weather was like 10,000 years ago by looking at the tree rings from 10,000 years ago. And you do that by building up a series of overlapping eras. And we can track what every winter was like everywhere there was trees, pretty much all over the world, to tell us a lean winter or a series of patterns of lean winters or whatever. And then in the same way we can look at volcanic formation in underground rocks. I guess that'd be exthermic? No, what's it called? Intrusive and extrusive. Intrusive rocks form crystals. Extrusive occasionally form crystals. Anything that's forming on the surface or underground that's cooling rock, right, from magma or lava into solid rock, is forming crystals within it, and that pattern will be frozen. So the next time the reversal happens, suddenly was pointing a different way, and it's happened several times, at least several times in the Earth's history. The poles have shifted from north to south, south to north. That change is overdue, we're told. Following the pattern that's been set, we're overdue for a magnetic flip. But what's interesting is that the poles aren't always fixed anyways; they drift. Right. So the North Pole, we think it's it's not magnetic north is not exactly the same as regular north, but it's not permanently pointed in the same direction. It drifts by miles or kilometers as time goes by. I think that's fascinating.
Yeah, it is. It's interesting. Yep.
And we know we can do all sorts of correlative spotting. Saying the dinosaurs died out or whatever. Is it a coincidence? Could be.
Yeah.
Magnetic reversal is not. It doesn't happen in a day. And does that mean the pole disappears overnight? If we suddenly lose our protective shielding, mutation jump up? Is there a giant damage to living things from it not being there for
right
however long?
Yeah,
it's interesting.
It is. Yeah.
So that would be an interesting listen. It's 16 hours.
Okay.
You willing to give it a gamble?
Maybe. Right now I'm full up, but
yeah, me too.
Mid-January maybe. I'll be looking
it sounds
for more.
really interesting. We should get Stefan Rudnicki on and grill him.
Yeah, you bet. But I called up Skyboat Productions now, and there's 5 titles.
Yeah, some of them.
They're all, well, one of them's not genre, but 4 out of the 5 are. So you got Resonance by A.J. Scudlier. Is that how you pronounced it?
Scudlier.
Scudlier, okay.
Scudlier.
And then Posing as People by Orson Scott Card, and
I did a review of that ages ago.
Yeah, that's based on it was a stage play.
Mm-hmm.
It's an interesting thing. For anybody who's interested in theater, this is a really interesting thing because it's got 3 short stories read, just straight, and then the 3 short stories were made into scripts, and those are also presented. So it was a stage play, but the scripts are presented on the audiobook as well. So it's really interesting. And then there's one by Orson Scott Card called An Open Book, and I'm fairly sure this is an LDS title because I've seen that book around.
What's this one, The Protector? It says it's from Fantastic Audio.
Yeah.
The art is for it anyways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then Flinks' Folly, a Pip and Flinks novel by Alan Dean Foster, read by Stefan Rudnicki, and The Protector by David Morrell, also read by Stefan Rudnicki. And they spelled his name wrong on that one. Stephan, Rudnicki. And it's Stefan.
You know what's funny? When you click on it, it's actually spelled correctly.
Oh, good.
It's just on the external...
That's odd that that's not coming from the same place.
Yeah, you would think it would be.
Yeah.
Somebody's hand-coding all this stuff.
Tappity tap. He's very, very busy. He or she is very, very busy, whoever it is. Got him in the basement of the Audible.com building. Just slaving away. But it's terrific. I mean, my goodness. Hey, did you see, this is like all Audible all the time on this podcast.
Yeah, no
Did you notice Mike Resnick is the guest editor this month? I
spotted that late last night, and I haven't done anything.
He's got a list. It's science fiction, or it was all about... I thought it was I just clicked into it. It says science fiction's worst prediction.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Yeah. Hugo, it says, the man credited with creating the field of science fiction, Hugo Gernsback, for whom our highest award, the Hugo, is named. This is Mike Resnick, by the way. Mm-hmm. Originally dubbed it scientifiction, and claimed that its highest purpose was to interest young boys in the wonders of science. Young girls were presumably too busy playing with their dolls for such heady matter. That turned out to be the worst prediction ever made. And then he goes on to list great audiobooks by females.
Mm-hmm.
And wow, I mean, what a cool list it is. He's got Black God's Kiss by C.L. Moore.
Are these audiobooks or just regular
Yep, these are all audiobooks.
Really?
Starborn by Andre Norton.
Oh, that's nice.
That's
nice
a wonder.
To see Wonder Audio there.
Dragonflight by Anne McCaffrey. A Wizard of Earthsea by Ursula K. Le Guin, read by Harlan Ellison. The Moon's Shadow by Catherine Asaro. The Vor Game by Lois McMaster Bujold. The Disappeared by Christine Catherine Rush. Kindred.
That's in your series.
No, my series. That's not my audiobook, though. Yeah.
No, but it's in the series.
Yep. Kindred by Octavia Butler. Man, she's good. Octavia Butler's amazing. His Majesty's Dragon, Temeraire, Book 1, by Naomi Novik.
I wouldn't put that in the top of everything. It was good.
Uh-huh.
It was fantasy, though.
Uh-huh.
Not science fiction. Sorry, Mike.
Yeah. Even the Queen and Other Short Stories by Connie Willis, read by Connie Willis.
That was really hard to find one until very recently.
Yeah. And then The Last of the Winnebagos by Connie Willis. So cool. Oh, wow, they've got Stalking the Unicorn and Stalking the Vampire.
I wanted to ask you about those because I'm big into Mike Resnick at the moment, waiting for Starship number 4 in the series. Have you read either of these?
No, I haven't.
I started listening to the clips of them, and somebody was saying these are excellent. Another person was saying I really like these books, except the narrator's not good.
Huh.
So
Peter Ganem is the narrator.
Yeah, that his name doesn't ring a bell. But these are Audible Frontiers, so it could be that this is his first work in the field, or it could be just that we're not familiar with him.
Right.
But yeah, that's a 2-book series so far. Anyways,
I definitely want to hear one of these, one or both. They look almost like noir things.
They're comedic, or it's like a fantasy set in a Philip Marlowe style world. I think. Cool.
You know, you and I had a long discussion a long time ago about it was as digital things became more common. And I was of the opinion that the covers weren't very important, you know, because it was, you had said something like, you know, what about the book covers, you know, the collectability and all these kind of issues. I mean, this was a long time ago. And I was kind of like, you know, cover, whatever. But as time's gone on, I've grown to really appreciate cover art more and more and more.
I want to hear the apology.
I apologize to you, your family, all the artists in the world.
There you go.
My goodness, because
just another time when Jesse was right. We'll just talk it up for my little.
This Stalking the Vampire is a good example. Stalking the Vampire. I was in Borders maybe a month ago, looking through their hardcovers, and they had a copy of this Stalking the Vampire. And I pulled it out, and man, it's this just stunning cover. And I forget who publishes it. It's one of the small presses. Might be Peer Publishing. Pyre. I'm not positive. But
yeah, Pyre
what a gorgeous book. What a gorgeous book. Well. And yeah.
You know, covers do matter. It's I mean, for blind people they might not matter, but they bloody well matter for everybody who has eyes. That's why they call them covers. You know, it's the part you look at, and maybe that's not going to be your ultimate decision making. I look at the author. If I know the author and I like the author, it's a blind buy. I'll buy it even if it doesn't have great art. But if it's somebody who I've never read before, the very first introduction I'm getting to them is the image, and you can sort of tell what would make a possibly interesting thing because they're going to be putting something interesting on the cover, hopefully.
Yeah.
So just looking at the Mike Resnick titles, you know, some of them are better than others. Kiran Yaga's cover is it's interesting, but it's not compelling, which is sad because this is the most compelling series I've read by Mike Resnick.
I think that I like that cover.
It's okay, and it's appropriate for the book, but it doesn't suck you in. You know, it doesn't say you have to read this.
Sure, but it's got, you know, I'm looking at it now. It's got the savannah down on the bottom, and then above it, it's got like a big science fiction city hanging in the sky.
It's completely appropriate for
I like it.
What it is.
Got a mountain range in there too. But I understand what you're saying, because if you look at the Stalking the Vampire cover, my goodness, it's just like you almost want to buy it just to have the cover.
Well, you know, there have been books with bad covers that ended up being terrible, and
yeah. In fact, you know, I've got as my screensaver. You know, whenever I get a book that I really like the cover, I scan it in, and then Windows XP, I don't know about Vista, hopefully they kept it, but Windows XP has a screensaver that you can select a directory that has a bunch of pictures in it, and it'll just flip through those pictures for you. So I've got a whole bunch of cover scans in a directory, and that's my screensaver.
That sounds nice.
So I want a scan of Stalking the Vampire, so Scott at SFFaudio.com. Send it a nice big one, at least 600 tall.
That's very kind of you to use this as your personal retrieval database.
Oh my gosh, that's I need to get it just for that.
There was a story on a website called Total Dickhead, which is a Philip K. Dick devotional blog. And it's an MP3 2-hour broadcast in celebration of Philip K. Dick's 80th birthday. And there's some exclusive interviews with a couple of Philip K. Dick people, his wives and such. He had 5 of them, so most of them are still alive and have stories to tell about him. Who he liked to read and what he was concerned about, that sort of thing. What he's like on a daily basis to live with.
Oh, cool. This has been the SFFaudio Podcast. Please join us at www.sffaudio.com.